go for in this commit is to make these look a bit prettier. What I'm envisioning is that when you look at one of these sections, the logo is going to be over on the left and the text is going to be over on the right, and then it's going to alternate. So in the next one, the logo would be on the right and the text would be on the left. In order to do that, I'm going to make a couple little changes here. First, I'm going to need to make some small changes to the HTML just to sort of section things out a little bit. So each of these guys is, each of these sections right here is going to have sort of two columns, if you will, one column being the logo and one column being the text, which is going to be next to it in the same row. So I'm going to sort of create dummy columns in here. Actually going to be columns. I'm just going to have an image tag and a div tag, and I'm going to use CSS to sort of make those look like columns. So I'll do that for each of these. All right, that's not going to make any difference, but I'm going to change that in just a minute. So now I'm going to start styling these guys. So earlier on, I gave this unordered list this class of block list. I'm going to be making use of that right now. I'm calling it block list because instead of all of these guys being inline, like these are, they're all, well, blocks. So this is sort of like an inline list. This is a block list where each is a block of the page. All right, so I'm going to say every list item inside that block list should be display flex. All right, now a couple kind of weird things happened. What's going on here is this is trying to select every list item that's inside an element with a class of block list. But notice that these guys, these are list items as well. I don't want to select these. I want to select these. So I could like go through and add a class to each of these ones, but that would be kind of annoying. Instead, what I can say is this. And now these guys are back to being normal. What this character does is it says select every list item that is immediately inside something with the class of block list. When I say immediately inside, I mean this is block list right here, and then this is immediately inside it. It's like an immediate child of it. It's not a grandchild, it's just a child right inside it, whereas this is something like a great-great-grandchild of block list. So this is saying just select immediate children of block list. All right, so there's that. Next, I'm going to get these guys to align nicely. So I'm going to try to get them to align to the center. There's that. And let's see, what else should I do? Okay, so I'm also going to get these images to not look quite so gnarly. So I'm going to say block list li, and then every image immediately inside a list item that is immediately inside a block list. So that's going to select all these sort of technology images right there. I'm going to say each of those should have a width of 150 pixels and a height of 150 pixels. So that looks a bit more manageable. But what I'm really going for here is getting that sort of flipping effect, remember, having the logo on the left here and on the right here. So I'm going to start differentiating between the odd numbered and the even numbered list items, these li tags inside the block list. I'm going to do something with nth child odd, and also, as you can probably guess, nth child even. So this is a way of selecting only odd numbered elements and only even numbered elements. If I give this one a background color of red, now you can see that only the odd numbered ones have that background color of red. So we can start styling these guys differently. And here I'm going to say flex direction row. Oops, spelled that wrong. Text align left. So there's that. But on the even numbered ones, I want it to be flex direction row reverse, text align right. So row reverse says take these things in the order in which they appear in the HTML. So we're looking at this node one right now, where the image comes first, then the div with all the text in it, and reverse that. So if it was just a normal row, then things would sort of show up in the way they were in the HTML. But now I'm saying I want them to go in an opposite order. So it's reversing the order. So this is a pretty good start. A couple other things I'd like to do here. Let's see. going to be, I want every div inside a block list to grow. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah. Okay, so what that means is that if there's extra space inside this block right here, each of these blocks being about this wide, there you go. Well, without this flex grow, you can see that there's a lot of unused space here. Let me highlight these divs. Yeah, lots of unused space. If I turn on flex grow, then it's saying that these guys should grow to fill any available space there is inside this list item. So that's what they're doing, and I think that looks much better. Let me get rid of these outlines. All right, one thing that's bothering me is that these aren't really vertically aligned, so I'm going to do that as well. I'm going to use a different property for this. I'm going to use align self center. And so that is sort of vertically aligning these guys. Flexbox gives you a couple different ways of vertically aligning things, and this is just one of them. So from this point on, it's mostly just sort of cleaning things up. I would like there to be a little bit of a margin between this Ruby image and this text right here. So I'm going to give the images a margin of 10 pixels on both sides. There we go. That looks a bit better. And the very last thing, this is just kind of a weird thing, but I'm sort of conscious of all this dead space over here, so I think I might put sort of like a line or something over here in these dead areas just to occupy that space a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that every odd numbered child should have a border right of 20 pixels of solid, let's say light gray. So there's that. And then this one should have a border on the left of the same thing. Now this is pretty repetitive doing it this way. So instead I can save a little bit of trouble if I go up here and instead say I want this to have a border style of solid. So when you see borders written like this, they're really setting three properties. They're setting the border width, 20 pixels, the border style, and also the border color, doing it all in one line. That's another one of the little CSS shortcuts. I'm going to get rid of these altogether. I'm going to say the border style should be solid, the border width should be 20 pixels, and the border color should be EEE. Okay, so of course that's not what I wanted at all, so let me change this up a little bit. Now I'm going to say that these guys down here, this should have no border on the left, and this one should have no border on the right. All right, so that fixes that, but now we get this weird sort of snaky looking thing. So what I'm going to do to fix that, I'm going to add another color in here. All right, so this, as you might guess, styles the top color, the top and bottom colors. If I style it to white, then they don't show up at all, and you got sort of this neat, like, I don't know, sort of angly effect over here. Maybe that border's a little thick, so I'm going to bring it down to 10 pixels. There we go. So I think that looks pretty okay. I'm not a designer, mind you, but I kind of like it, so I'm going to go with that. That's all I'm going to do for this step. So now my little portfolio section is styled nicely, and I'll just leave that as it is. So let's see, before I stop that recording, I should add, and then I should say I styled the portfolio section